Well, international students have been given the green light to return to Australia as the country begins to reopen. December 1 is the day, and 160,000 are going to return according to the government. But will that be enough? Is it a cap? I spoke to Universities Australia Chief Executive Catriona Jackson a short time ago. Catriona Jackson, thanks for your time. So the numbers we've had announced of international students back, they can come from December 1. Will the full cohort be back by first semester next year?
Look, we really hope so. There are 130,000 students just waiting who've already got visas, who are studying online, who are very, very keen to get back into the country for first semester. Also, students will be considering their options, thinking about where they study. We want them to come and study here because Australia is a great place to study and they play an enormous part in our both society, but also, let's be honest about it, in our economy.
So 130,000 waiting to get in.
Yep.
Then there's next year's hopeful intake. That feels like you're going to go beyond the government's cap. Are you hoping more come, or there's a future announcement? Is that what's needed?
Look, we're seeking a bit of clarification about that number. I'm not sure it's a cap. I think it's an estimate. I mean, you'll have to ask the government about this, but I think it's their estimate.
160,000 or so.
That's the look. Our number for universities is about 130,000 with a visa really ready to go, ready to come back and do their last ready to do their last year of university. Some of these students have been studying online for almost 2 years now. They've got 1 year of a very hands-on degree. They've got to get into the lab. They'll be absolutely itching to get back in as quickly as they can. But of course, there's people considering the rest of their life now. So they might be first-year students next year, so they may well be more. But also on top of that, there's all the skilled migrants who really do need to come here to sort of kickstart the economy.
Right, so you need, for next year's semester 1 to look normal, you need a further announcement on how many can come here, how many international students?
Look, I think we probably just need a little more clarification about their expectations about numbers, because without quarantine requirements, and obviously that's up to the states and territories, they don't need to do anything further. As long as they've got that, really importantly, that TGA recognised vaccine, they can come. So we just need a bit more clarification for government about the numbers they're expecting and will be able to be here.
Okay. The assurances, what about the future? Because, you know, a new variant might come. We'll see what happens, surges, we'll see how the booster program goes. Have you got an assurance that vaccinated students will be able to continue to come to the country without quarantine, that this is the new normal?
Look, not an absolute guarantee, but I think we can see there is a trajectory here. We are moving away from quarantine for citizens and non-citizens, and that's because Australia has really stood up and all got the double vax. Obviously, we're going to need to do boosters pretty soon, but we understand there's movement on that. So I'd be very surprised if we went backwards, but we've all learnt in the last 2 years to look into the crystal ball and do too much concrete stuff is a bit of a fool's game.
But if we look at the attitudes already of our competitors, if you like, the US, UK and Canada, I know they've had a very different experience with COVID.
Yep.
There's no sense they'll be going back. If the government said, well, there's a bit of a new strain, it's putting a strain on our healthcare system, we're going to turn off the tap of international students, that'd be a body blow, wouldn't it?
Gee, look, we hope that doesn't happen. And I actually, Tom, would be very surprised if that did at this point. Everything is moving in one direction rather than backwards and forwards.
Even if that means we have a little uptick in cases, hospitalisations, deaths, that's what happens with COVID, that you'd urge the government to allow double vax students in particular quarantine-free access, that's the new normal?
Well, we think that it really is okay for students who've got TGA recognised vaccines, the double vax, to be coming back to the country. They've made a significant investment in this country. They're really important players. They play a really important play. You know, we really want them back for a whole lot of reasons, as does the rest of the community. I think we've decided to open the borders, and I think that's the right decision at this stage.